Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today with Baby Me. So today my husband talking about allowance.
Right. So we were talking about this because I had a couple of stories for you. I had
Yes.
been over to some friends' houses,
Yeah.
and I told you that this had happened and that had happened. I'm not going to go into all the details, but about allowances. They were giving their girlfriend a monthly allowance. And I don't personally see anything. I think there's circumstances that warrant giving somebody X amount of pesos, dollars, however you want to put it, per month. There's different strokes for different folks. Each couple has her own set of circumstances, and so I'm not condemning it, and nor am I condoning it. It just depends on the individual. As far as you and me go, have I ever given you an allowance?
No.
No, I've never given you, say, here's 10,000 for the month and this and that. And you've never asked for it.
Yes, because for what? Why you need to asking for allowance for what?
Yeah, that's kind of my overall feeling on this whole thing is, and I've talked to a number of guys about it, is when I'm providing, because you don't pay for it, I do, but I provide the shelter, the house or the apartment
Yeah.
or whatever. When the rent's due, who pays it? I
Yeah.
do, right?
Yes.
The electric bill comes in
Yes.
every month. I go to my wallet, I pay it.
Yeah.
We go to the market, we buy food,
Yes.
I pay it.
Everything.
We go to a restaurant,
Yes.
we put gas in the car or the motorbike,
Yeah.
I pay it. You need clothes, I pay it.
Yes.
However, you have generated yourself your own income stream,
Yeah.
and that is your YouTube channel.
Yes.
And when I met you, you worked as a caterer.
Yeah.
So this is a story this is one of the things that really caught my attention when I first met May. And the story is this. We were dating. And I picked her up. We'd known each other for a month or so. I don't know. We went to lunch the first time we met at Sands Raval. Was it breakfast?
Yes.
Okay. And I picked you up at the bus station because
Yes.
you came in from Chateau.
Yes.
But you had a boarding house in Dumaguete with your sister.
Yes.
So, yes, she was working as a caterer in Dumaguete, but on her days off, she would go back home to Chateau and hang out with her mom.
Yeah.
And then she'd come back down, stay with her sister, go to work, rinse, repeat, do it all over again. Well, the very first time, or the second time, whatever it was, that she came over to my little apartment, we went swimming, we watched TV, I think she made some food or something, and then she was going to go home because we weren't cohabitating. We were not
Yeah.
living together yet. And I'll never forget it because something was wrong with my bike. It wouldn't work.
Yes.
And it had a dead battery or something. I went to take you home and I had a dead battery. So we called the trike.
Yes.
And I said, here's X amount of pesos. I think back then it was 30 or 40 pesos for you to take the trike back down to
Yeah.
Dumaguete. It's a lot more expensive now. But back then that was the number. And I reached in and I said, here's money for the trike. And you looked at me and you said, I got money.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's the first time that a female that I've ever been around has ever refused something for nothing. Do you know what I mean? And so I thought, I really went home after you left and thought about that. I said, this girl is different and kind of a unicorn. But that's just that. And since that day, that 6 months later, you moved in with me.
Yeah.
And then 4 years, 5 years, whatever it's been, we got married. Now we've been married over a year. So to this day, you have been generating your own income.
Yeah.
And it's just been getting stuffed in the bank
Yeah.
and saved and not touched unless necessary.
Yeah.
Now, has she gone to the bank and pulled out money to help her family?
Yeah.
Yep. Have I helped her family? Yep. But do we do it on an ongoing, continuing basis? where every month they expect to get 10 or 20 or 30, pick your number, a month from the boyfriend, foreigner, husband. And your family has never annoyed me.
Yeah.
They've never come to me with their hand out.
No.
You've never come to me. And in fact, you tell me things after the fact, like when people die.
Yeah.
And so I've said this before in other videos, I think on my channel, that one time May had, I think, a grandmother pass away. I don't remember the dynamic. No, it was
Riza's husband.
Riza's husband died.
Yes.
And
Next is Jing's husband.
and then Jing's husband died.
And then the last is my grandma.
And then your grandma died.
Yeah.
She died the same day Jules died, right?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Where was I? Oh, every time there was a death, she told me after the fact. And I said, how come you didn't tell me about this? And she said, well, it's not your family, it's not your problem.
Yeah.
And so there was a grandma that one of them I paid for it
Yeah.
because nobody had any money at the time.
Yeah.
And I think that cost 30,000 pesos, about $600 at the time. And that was a very, very modest funeral, which we didn't go to.
Yeah.
I just gave the money to one of your sisters. They gave it to
Yeah.
the grandma's family, and they buried her. You had a relative that had had a stroke a couple, 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and was over at Provincial Hospital. And she asked me to take her to the bank, and she pulled out a sum of money,
Yeah.
got back on the car or the bike or whatever we had.
Yeah.
You went in and just handed it to the family
Yes.
and took care of it.
Yeah.
Those are the circumstances. We can kill you with examples. But there's been times when I've seen, every time I see your mom and dad, I always slip them 1,000 pesos or two or three. So they're always happy to see
Yeah,
me.
it's big happy.
Oh, Paul's here. Where's our gift? But I do that just because I know that they need food, they need medicine, and it's just a gesture of respect, really,
Yes.
to your parents from me to them
Yeah.
and to you. And then when we see your sister and we go cash out money, sometimes we know her position, so we'll give her 1,000 pesos.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of random acts that we do every now and then. So what I've observed is this. Guys bring a woman into the house and take away their job. So let's just say, well, for you, for example, I took you away from your job. You were working as a caterer.
Yes.
Now, I didn't tell you to quit, though. You did that all on your own.
Yes.
Because I remember
Yeah.
you would pick up and say, I got to go to work, and I would drive you
Yeah.
off to the boarding house,
Yeah.
and I let you just keep working. I didn't argue with it. I
Yeah.
figured, fair enough. She's got a job, let her work. I go off and do my thing. But then one day you just sort of said, I quit.
Yeah.
And then you start up a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And so I said, okay, she took that job and replaced it with another one.
Yeah.
And that's been the course of action since then.
Yeah.
Where I find the problem is when you're giving a woman an allowance, it's fair if she's got a job and she's making, say, let's just use 10,000 pesos, $200 a month. And she's using that money primarily, most of the time, it's to support their family. Usually the kids are sent out to work and they send it home to mom or dad or both. If you pull her away from wherever she's working, 7-Eleven, Robinson's, McDonald's, a
Yeah.
nurse, whatever she's doing, and that money is shut off, I pretty much think that there's an obligation on your part to replace it. I think that that's fair. That, okay, she's been giving them 7 of 10, so I'm going to give them 7, not the full 10. Now, you and I, when we go out, I drop you off a lot of times.
Yeah.
We part ways. I'm headed in one direction to meet some people, and you're headed in another direction. we drive into town together. I always drop you off at the same place.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
I
okay.
always ask you, do you need any money? And sometimes she says, yeah, let me have 1,000 pesos. And I go, okay, here's 1,000 pesos. And then guess what? She comes home with stuff that you needed.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was some makeup. Maybe you saw a cute pair of shorts that you wanted for 40 pesos.
Yeah.
You take advantage of that. Maybe you want to go with your girlfriend or your sister and have lunch. Big deal. You guys go to the canteen or Jollibee or whatever. It's not like you're going to the Henry, you know, and having a steak dinner. And so that's just the way we have always operated. The problem with supporting the family or coming in and seeing the devastation that they live in, sometimes it's absolute squalor. The knee-jerk reaction for most guys is to be the hero and fix up the house. Now, I think if you are in a long-term, committed relationship and you have the means to do that, where it's not going to devastate you, cause you to go broke, which in many cases it does, but I won't dwell on that. Then if you want to put a new roof on the house or a new floorboards in or cement or a proper toilet, rock on. You're taking something and you're improving upon it. You're showing the parents respect. You're showing her respect.
Yeah.
And you're doing a good thing for what should be good people. The problem lies with the people sometimes think that, okay, I got 20, that's going to happen every month. And then I want more and more and more. And if they don't get it, the girlfriend starts giving him heat and all this and that. So the moral of the story on all this, if there is one, I think supporting the family every month, because you can, number one, and number two, they've stood the test of time. I have one friend that faithfully sends 15,000 pesos a month to his wife's family. I know him very well. And he does it because they need it. They don't have any income. He doesn't want his wife's family to suffer. We have never let her family suffer. We don't do a normal thing every month.
Yeah.
But I don't see any problem with doing that. The reason why is that they never come back the next month and say we need 16, or halfway through the month say, hey, that 15's gone, can we have another? There's where you get into the cycle that will actually sink your retirement if you fall for it, or it can create, you know, a contentious setup between you and the other, your significant other. And so supporting the family, yeah, there's also emotional support. There's more than just financial support. There are things that you can do that maybe not involve the exchange of silver. Maybe they have a child, and the child is younger, going to school, or going to college, whatever the case might be, depends on the ages. Maybe you can ink up and pay for a year's tuition of college. Now, you haven't given them any cash, but you've relieved them of the burden of paying for that year's tuition. You can buy school clothes for the kids, siblings, like we've done for Riza's kids and whatnot. Things like that, I think, where the problem with giving people money is sometimes you give them money and it's like pouring water in their hand. It just flows out. There's others, you give them money and it's like a stone. They grip it and they hang on to it and they squeeze it to death, getting blood out of the stone, right? That's how they act with money. So I think that it really just depends on the players in the game. I don't want to go into all the disaster stories because God knows I've got enough to fill up 10 hours of videos. But I will say that guys that come here and lead with their wallet and want to act like the millionaire when they're not are going to find themselves in a world of hurt. because they sometimes get involved with the proverbial black hole, where no matter what you give it, it just wants more and more and more, and it never ends. So there is no real right or wrong answer to this question, I don't think. I think that if you're the guy that's the husband, you're supposed to be a provider.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a protector. You're supposed to be the leader. And I think you and I fill those roles very well.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other guys fill those roles very well as their significant others. My hat's off to them. But there are always exceptions to the rule. And the guys that give too much end up getting nothing back but grief. So I guess everything in moderation. I don't know. I did a lot of talking here.
Yeah. My advice is, if you're the first time to your girlfriend or wife, do not give for what to call that what to call that spoiled. Do not give spoiled.
What you're saying,
Yeah.
I know what she's saying. Don't be extravagant.
Yes.
In other words, don't give a big expensive iPhone the
Yes.
first week you're together.
Yes, remember?
Right? Yeah.
You tell the people the first time the girlfriend hippie in the restaurant, and then couple a man. Oh my God, the girlfriend she's request for expensive cell phone, iPhone, because she tired for Android. So you need to observe first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't give a lot because he is getting spoiled.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's a gradual buildup. And as you give more, as you know them better, and as they deserve more or really need it. Big difference between needing something and wanting it. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I want and she wants, I'm sure. But we don't need it, so we don't get it. If she's absolutely 1,000% right, if you start off up here, well, they're going to expect you to maintain it. So start off down here.
Yeah.
You know, if her phone is broken
Yeah.
and she needs a phone, okay, well, go out and buy her a phone. But I think the first phone I bought her was a 6,000 peso Vivo. It
Yeah.
was just a cheap little phone.
Yes.
And I said, there you go. And she was thrilled to get it.
Yes, I'm very happy.
You know, your phone was like 12 years old or something. It was ridiculous. It wouldn't, and I just now remembered that. It wouldn't hold a charge for more than 20 minutes, and you never asked for it. I said, what is wrong with this phone?
It's
Isn't
still
the
alive.
oldest, is it still here? My God. It's still alive, she said. She still didn't get rid of it. And so I said, we got to get you a phone, young lady. And then later on, when you started vlogging,
Yeah.
then you went out and you bought yourself a Samsung.
Yes.
Because you wanted to improve on
Yes.
it. So there you have it. That's just kind of our situation. I'll tell you one quick story. And this is always stuck with me. I went out, I used to be friends with a guy. I no longer see him anymore. But he had a girlfriend, and they since broke up. It's an old story, or it's an old relationship. It goes back before her. But we would go out to dinner, and he would say, watch this. He says, watch what happens. She's going to order, no matter where we went, the most expensive item on the menu. And I said, get out of here. And I said, you go to a restaurant, you order what you want to eat. He goes, not this girl. Watch. Watch. And we went, and 6 times minimum, I went to dinner with him. And after he told me that, I started scanning the menu. And I would see, I would finally zero in on what was the most expensive item. And you know what? That's what she ordered. And I said, dude, this is not a good sign. He goes, yeah, I know. And she would order a mango shake, and she would order a dessert. And half the time she didn't even eat it. She just ordered it to get it, you know? And that was a relationship that ended as it should, with him breaking up with her because she was being exploitive. Men will exploit the women also, but that's another topic for another video. And so anyway, you got anything else, kid? We covered allowances.
Yes.
We don't do it. We don't do the allowance thing.
No.
We don't do the monthly support every
No,
month.
no need that.
But we step up when it's necessary.
Yeah.
If your parents need medication,
Yes.
we pay for it.
Yes,
If they
that's
have
right.
an emergency,
Yeah.
we pay for it. Someone goes to the hospital, comes out of, it's
Yeah.
our money. So your bank, my bank, our bank,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. We'll go and pull it after we talk about it and we decide as a couple
Yeah.
that yes, these people should have this
Yeah.
help. But those are the things that I think are important.
Yeah.
I think a hospital payment and medication
Yeah.
and a burial is a hell of a lot more important than a new phone or a new TV or a new sofa or some sort of gadget or gizmo to placate people. Instead, I would rather, it's not the case, but if your parents were still living in Chateau in that funky house, a new roof would have been good. I think that would have been a fair investment. But we could go on and on with examples and waterboard you with those all day. So I guess that's it. Oh, you got anything else?
Yes, that it's my advice.
That's our advice.
Yes.
And that's Baby May's advice. And
Yes.
that's the way we run things. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to A Little Today with Baby May here. She works really hard.
Yes.
And and your sister's channel, Jane.
Oh, Jane, everything, guys.
Yeah, if you want to see them working out like Jane Fonda every morning.
Yeah, every morning.
Tune in. All right. We'll see you guys
Bye,
in the next video.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Daddy Paul.
You're welcome, baby.